Imagine the internet is like a giant, busy city. In this city, there are places where you can talk to friends, places where you can learn new things, and places where you can buy or sell toys and clothes. One of the biggest places is called Craigslist. It is like a giant notice board where anyone can post a message. But there is a problem with this giant city. In a real city, you can see the person you are talking to. You can see their face and see if they look kind. On the internet, you can't see them. You only see words on a screen. Most people are good and honest, but some people are not. They pretend to be nice so they can trick others. This is a story about a girl named Brooke, a boy named Charles, and why we must be very careful when we use the internet. Brooke Slocum was 18 years old. People who knew her said she had a heart of gold. Even though Brooke didn't have much money herself, she was always thinking of others. She lived in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Sometimes she would stand on the street with a sign to collect money. But she wasn't collecting it for herself. As soon as she got some money, she would walk down the street and give it to a homeless person who was hungry. She even made sandwiches and lunches at home to give away to people living on the street. Brooke had a boyfriend named Charles. Charles was 25 years old, and they were very happy because they were about to become parents. Brooke was 8 months pregnant. That means the baby was going to be born in just 4 weeks. They were so excited that they had already picked out a name for their little girl, Audi Lynn. But even though they were happy about the baby, life was very hard for them. They were struggling to pay for their house and food. Brooke's father, Greg, was very worried about her. He saw that Brooke was trying so hard to be grown up, but he knew the world could be a scary place. He tried to tell her, "Brooke, be careful. Not everyone is nice like you. Some people hide behind computers to do bad things." Brooke was very sweet and always wanted to see the good in people. She told her dad, "Oh, Dad, I've got it. I'm okay. People aren't really like that." She thought that if she was kind to the world would be kind to her. But her dad knew better. He told her, "Yes, honey, they are." In July 2014, Brooke and Charles were in a very tough spot. They needed money for medicine and for gas for their car. Because they didn't know where else to turn, Brooke went on to Craigslist. She posted a message saying she needed $50. She explained that she was 8 months pregnant and that people in her house were sick. She just wanted to get some medicine so she wouldn't get sick too. A man answered her message. His computer name was Mike's Hard. He told Brooke that he would help her. He said he would give her $120, much more than the $50 she asked for. But he said they had to meet him at a park late at night, around 11:30 p.m. Brooke was a little bit nervous. She told the man she didn't want to get in trouble. She was worried about being in a park so late while she was pregnant. But the man told her not to worry. He said the park was very quiet, with lots of woods, and that no police ever went there. Brooke and Charles were so desperate for the money to help their family that they decided to go. They thought they would meet the man, get the help they needed, and come home. They left their house just before midnight. They drove to a place called Gezon Park. They thought they were meeting a friend who wanted to help. They had no way of knowing they were walking into a trap set by a very dangerous man. 4 days went by, and nobody heard from Brooke or Charles. Their families were very scared. They called the police. On July 16th, the police found Charles's car. It was sitting all alone in the park. When the police looked in the woods nearby, they found something terrible. They found Charles. He had been hurt very badly and was no longer alive. The man they met had taken Charles's life in a very cruel way. As the police knew they had to find Brooke immediately, she was still missing and her baby was going to be born very soon. They looked at Brooke's computer and found all the messages from Craigslist. They used technology to follow the messages back to a man named Brady Oestrike. He was 31 years old and lived in a house in Wyoming, Michigan. The police went to Brady's house and waited outside. They were preparing to go inside to save Brooke, but before they could, Brady got into his yellow car and drove away very fast. The police turned on their sirens and chased him. It was a very fast and scary chase through the streets. Finally, Brady's car crashed into a wall. When the police reached the car, Brady was dead. He had used a gun to end his own life so he wouldn't have to go to jail. Then the police opened the trunk of the car. Inside, they found Brooke. It was the saddest news possible. Brooke was gone, and her little baby girl, Audi Lynn, was gone too. The man had kept Brooke in his house for 5 days before hurting her for the last time. This part of the story is very hard to understand. Why would someone do this? People who knew Brady Oestrike were shocked. They thought he was a good man. He grew up in a very religious home. He went to church every week. He even went to other countries like Haiti and Ukraine to help build churches and help poor children. He was a teacher for kids in Sunday school. His friends said he was a teddy bear who was always generous, but Brady had a secret life, a very dark secret life. When the police searched his house, they didn't find a normal home. They found over 40 guns and hundreds of bullets. They found sharp swords and knives. And in his basement, they found a room that looked like a dungeon from a scary movie. There were chains on the walls and a big dog cage. The police found out that Brady had done this before. Just a few weeks earlier, he had met another woman on the internet. He tricked her into coming to his house and then locked her in that same dog cage in the basement. That woman was very, very brave. While Brady was away at work, she managed to find a way to call for help and escaped. She told the police what happened, but at the time, the police didn't have enough proof to stop him. It turns out that Brady was a person with two faces. On the outside, he acted like a kind neighbor and a churchgoer. But on the inside, he was full of anger and very bad thoughts. He liked to collect scary things and spent his time thinking about how to hurt people. But he used the internet to look for people like Brooke, people who were kind, who were struggling, and who needed help. For a long time, there was still one mystery left. The police couldn't find a part of Charles that the killer had hidden. It took 5 long years of searching. Finally, in 2019, a farmer working in his field found what was left of Charles. It was 17 miles away from the park. This finally allowed Charles's family to have a proper funeral and say goodbye. So, what can we learn from this very sad story? Brooke's father, Greg, wants us to learn something important. He started a group called Brooke's Angels. This group helps young people who are going through hard times so they don't have to look for help from strangers. Greg says he has found a way to forgive the man who did this. He says that being angry all the time won't bring Brooke back. Instead, he wants everyone to remember how Brooke lived. He wants us to remember the girl who gave her lunch to the hungry and her money to the poor. But he also wants us to be smart. This story teaches us some very important rules for staying safe in our digital world. First, never ever meet someone from the internet in person without a trusted adult, like a parent or a teacher, being there with you. Second, if you ever do meet someone, it should always be in a place with lots of people, like a bright shopping mall or a busy restaurant, and never at night. Third, remember that people on the internet can pretend to be anyone. Someone might say they are a teddy bear or a helper, but you cannot know for sure just by reading their messages. And fourth, not always listen to your gut. If a situation feels weird, or if someone asks you to meet them in a private place, say no and tell an adult right away. Brooke Slocum was a girl who wanted to fill the world with kindness. She believed that everyone was good. While the world lost a beautiful soul that day, we can keep her light shining by being kind to others, but also by being very, very careful. The internet is a big place with lots of information, but the most important thing we can learn is how to keep ourselves and our friends safe. Brooke's dad says, "Love is not about tricking people. Love is about being kind and looking out for one another." Let's make sure we always look out for each other, both in the real world and on the screens in our hands.